Gary Chapman, a great author, he wrote The 5 Love Languages. He has a book that's called Now You're Speaking My Language, and he has some really great stuff in there. I recommend that book to you. But he talks about the 4 unhealthy fowls of communication in marriage. Fowl as in F-O-W-L, birds. And he's talking about people who don't tell the truth. And the first is a dove. I want peace at any price. And he says, in this pattern, one partner placates the other in order to avoid his or her wrath. A dove is just a very sweet person who won't tell the truth. I'm afraid of you. And this happens all the time, is that I don't want to have to deal with your wrath, so I'm just not going to tell the truth. Now, let me say something, because some of us have the tendency to be doves. You don't love your spouse if you won't tell them the truth, and your marriage is at risk if you're not telling the truth. You can't hide the truth forever. It's going to come out, and it can get uglier and uglier the more you stuff it in there. You have to have faith in God that speaking the truth is the best thing to do. And if your spouse is hostile toward you or something like that, then that's their problem. But you need to make a commitment that says, I'm not going to placate the problems in this relationship. I'm going to lovingly speak the truth, but I'm going to speak the truth and stand my ground. The second fowl is a hawk, and the hawk is, it's your fault. The hawk blames their spouse. Everything is your problem. The hawk, this is what he says, the hawk blames his spouse for everything. Hawks appear to be strong and belligerent, but in reality, they're weak emotionally. This was me. I was a hawk. Everything was Karen's fault. I would attack her, put all the blame on her. I wasn't strong, I was weak. And I was not willing to take responsibility for my part of the relationship. The third fowl of communication is the owl. And the owl is, let's be reasonable. That the owl says this person shows no feelings, says the right words, reveals no emotional reaction, is more like a computer than a person. This person will not be truthful about their emotions. The hawk will not be truthful about the relationship. They're trying to put all the blame on their spouse, but the owl is very, cerebral, very controlled, doesn't show their hand, and they won't be honest about their feelings. Hurt, frustration, rejection, whatever it is, I'm going to guard my heart. And the ostrich is the fourth fowl of communication. This is ignored and it will go away. That's what the ostrich does. Put my head in the sand. This pattern basically ignores the other person's actions and comments. This person simply doesn't respond. It's just, I'm not going to respond. I'm just going to act like it doesn't exist. And they won't be honest about what's going on around them. Every one of those different kinds of people in the relationship simply won't be honest. You wanted me to communicate with you early in our marriage, and I didn't want to. I mean, honestly, I just didn't. I felt uncomfortable. I had issues of my own. But one of the challenges that we faced was anger. Right. You had a lot of anger toward me, and you were passive aggressive. You internalized your anger. I was aggressive. I was not passive, I was aggressive. I was very emotive. Right. And so you knew when I was angry, and I was very verbal. So let's go back to that time when you wanted me to communicate. How do you deal with anger? How does a woman deal with anger toward her husband so that she can communicate with him and not be aggressive?
Well, I think for myself, I had to be honest. That I had to internalize the things, and I wasn't being honest with you. Right. Like I would stuff how I really felt about situations because I knew I couldn't out-talk you. Right. And so, I would just think if I just let this, if I just let him get his way, and then I would just make peace at all costs. And then
it didn't last long.
Yeah, because then it would explode later. It would come out in some other way. And so you can't stuff anger. Eventually it's going to start coming out somewhere. Some people like to say, I'm leaking bad stuff right now. And so, it's important to keep short accounts and to be honest about how you feel and not be ashamed that you may disagree. And that you can disagree, that it's okay to have a difference of opinion, and that you need to give each other the right to be different, to voice how you feel and to validate each other's feelings, and then come to an agreement that you both can agree on. And so, because I think sometimes we feel like we're just not being heard. Are you really hearing me? Do you really understand how this is making me feel? And because we're so anxious to tell our story and how we're really feeling that we're not willing to see both sides of the story.
Right. Research has really proven that marriages are better when you have a certain level of conflict. If you never fight, it just means really you're not talking about stuff that matters. Not that you want to fight in a destructive way, but sometimes there's the old question of how do you eat an elephant, and the answer is one bite at a time. You may feel as though you've got a lot of anger in your relationship. Eat it one bite at a time. Just make a decision that says we're going to talk every day. We're going to talk about things that are really happening in our relationship, and we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop until we have dealt with all the anger in our relationship. And let me tell you what happens. You'll be a master. By the time you get all those issues dealt with, you will have mastered the art of dealing with conflict and resolving those kinds of issues. I'm sorry that we're out of time, but we're going to be back again for more Marriage Today. We hope that this program today has been a blessing to you. We'll see you next time. God bless you. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us. Experience the life-changing series, The Indestructible Marriage, on CD or DVD. Marriage Today's latest book, Happy, Happy Love, will supercharge your marriage with practical tips, wisdom, and inspiration for every stage of marriage. Visit happylovebook.com. Become a rock-solid partner today and equip yourself with the tools you need for a successful marriage. $14, $28, or $56 per month. Choose the partnership level that's right for you. Become a rock-solid partner today.